Hub worlds are, and always will be, something that we take for granted when we play some of our favorite games. And how can I blame you? How can I blame anyone, really? Hub worlds are the absence of gameplay. We play games for the sake of gameplay. It's pretty self-explanatory. But whether you love them or hate them, hub worlds are incredibly easy to glance over. It is like I said before, the gameplay takes importance. Take Sonic Adventure 1. Who gives a shit about Station Square when you could instead be playing the first stage of the game Emerald Coast, a fan favorite? Or better yet, take Delfino Plaza from Super Mario Sunshine and instead play Rico Harbor, because again, Rico Harbor and Emerald Coast are more exciting in their respective games. That isn't to say that hub worlds are necessarily neglected as much as just sort of underappreciated. Now, finally starting to get to the point, Hives Hub fits into this conversation, and while Hive doesn't represent the entirety of Minecraft and is nothing more than just a subset of it, it's still important to realize that hubs in general have an important place in gaming, and Hive's Hub is no different. A hub is supposed to connect things together, whether that be by presentation or just by a story. It can be a multitude of ways. For simplicity's sake, we'll refer to our two prime examples of hub worlds as Sunshine and Adventure and leave it at that. Adventure 1's take on Station Square is summed up as a web with text on it. While it does a great job at connecting your worlds around you, it also has a little bit of importance in and out of itself. Eggman even tries to blow up Station Square later in the story, and so it works as not just a convenient tool, but also a storytelling tool, an extension of the game in question. Sunshine's hub, Delfino Plaza, isn't as story-driven. Most Mario games aren't, so that makes sense, but it still interconnects the world that you are in, so obviously it's still a decent hub at its heart. To put it simply, whatever which way it does it, a hub world just interconnects worlds in one way or another. Hive's Hub is kind of interesting, and the fact that it's a subset of Minecraft itself rather than its own thing actually saves its ass through this entire conversation. If Hive was its own game, right, and you just suddenly spawn into this big neighborhood with all these houses and different buildings, what are they exactly? What are the story implications here, or are they just here to look pretty and represent nothing else? Now, again, this is why it being a small portion of Minecraft rather than the entirety of Minecraft is important. Hive's Hub isn't representing Hive at all, it's representing Minecraft. Minecraft is a game that represents exploration, creativity, imagination, and adventure. And Hive's Hub is exactly that. That's why we can play hide and seek in here. That's why we can ride a train for an hour, get a hub title that you already earned years ago, not even realize it, and then finally come to the notion, oh shit, I wasted an hour. Aside from that, Hive's Hub is a very good one, because it sets out to represent everything that Minecraft is and wants to be, and it does it very well. If this is an opinion about whether the old or new one is better, factually, you can't prove one's better than the other because they both achieve the exact same thing while looking different and being unique. For me personally, I like the older one a little more. I find that the hunts are a little bit easier since it's slightly more condensed, and I just thought the organization of said map was a little better, but I'm here to defend the fact that this map here is good. A lot of people do shit on the current hub for the Hive because it's not the same as the old one, and you're free to do that as much as you wish, but you have to appreciate and respect what this hub does. That's all I'm here to defend. What you have to remember is that whether you don't like this hub, or you do, or you're mixed about it, this is your sanctuary. This is where you go when you have to unwind or think through some thoughts, or maybe you're bored and just want to have a trip around. This is that place. In essence, having shower thoughts outside of the shower. But this is a place you should appreciate, or at the very least, respect. There's a lot of time and effort put into a hub as intricate and complex as this is, but it's oozing with things to explore and just take in. And so, when you're bored and you need a little something to do, take your time and walk around. If you're not a fan of this hub, I implore you to do it that much more, because maybe you'll get some appreciation for this hub. Even if after all that work you still don't feel very strong about this hub, I think it's time we get rid of the word iconicism regarding the old hub. The old hub is great because of iconicism and nostalgia, but sometimes we have to put an end to that bias and appreciate and embrace what we have in present time. Ever since Hive's been implementing more custom assets to their game to try to flesh out certain aesthetics or whatnot, notice that their identity has changed a little bit. Everything's much more modernized now, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but if a lot of older Hive players are saying that Hive doesn't feel the same, I totally understand that. And to be quite honest with you, this hub does represent a different pace compared to what we had before. But, again, in its own right, it's good, and you should appreciate it. Because for the longest time, we've all spent a lot of our dedicated effort shitting on this hub when it doesn't deserve such distaste.